Today, the centric and the international news agencies are all talking about how Russia is creating a provocative environment in not only in Europe, but in UK international waters. I'll come back to that later. But my question to you, sir, it would be, this war has prolonged for so long, almost 3 years and a half. It has made sure that other border disputes around the world may begin because of Russia invading Ukraine. And right now, almost 35% of eastern Ukraine is under the control of the Russian military. I know that you have background regarding military understanding between two different zones. I want to understand how you feel about Ukraine and Russia.
Thank you, Mr. Pantubhai. First of all, thanks to all the audience here. Okay, the Russian-Ukraine war is not only a war, and when the war started, actually it was not assumed that the war will be so prolonged. It is almost 1365 days, almost 3.5 years. The war is continuing, and the dynamics of this war, it is not limited in the military maneuver only now. It has been diversified. The dynamics of the war is something like attrition of the industrial areas, attrition of the civilian populations, and as you said, the 35% of the Ukrainian boundary has been captured or under control of the military, and the most importantly, the Ternopil, right?
Yes.
The Ternopil has been attacked, where the civilian population had been there, which is very dangerous and which is very human rights violation. And if the war is continuing for the future days, the nation itself, not only Russia and Ukraine, rather the world is going to really face a very big problem. And at this point of time, since the war has been prolonged so much, which was not actually assumed when it started, that it will be continuing for so many days or so many years. So it's the time for the international forum to really come forward and do something. Civilian populations are dying, lot of industries are going off, lot of people are going to be unemployed. So this is actually not expected, and the whole world is suffering. You know, the Europeans are suffering, the Asians have started suffering, and it's the time for the superpower like United States of America to come forward and really with a good motive, with a good niyat. They have to address it with the G20 and others, where they did not actually participate, which is really unfortunate for the nation as well.
You know, Turkey is a nation that is a crossroads of the world. Half of it merges with Europe, and other half merges with Asia of the Silk Road. So it's one of those countries that have importance in both sides of geopolitics. And this time around, it's Ukraine and Russia, and how Turkey played a massive role in order for the two prisoner swaps that both sides had. Of course, the talk had faltered, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed hope that Kiev and Moscow, the two capital cities, could restart prisoner swaps by the end of this year, stressing that Turkey plays a crucial role to this mediation to stop this war. My question to you would be, other regional players are now acting out as they understand that this war could now spiral into a global situation, which every nation is trying to avoid. What are some of the implications of this war spewing out, and what are the roles of the mediating countries such as Turkey in this issue of Ukraine and Russia?
You see that, thank you very much for the question. Turkey, half of the Turkey belongs to Europe, half of the Asia. And the role that he had, the meditation, and they actually, I should say that they are more inclined to Europe than that of Asia, and this war basically has got a prolonged, I should say, that has got impact, not only the military maneuver or something. It has got a prolonged impact on the industry aspects, on the civilian population that has really happened few days back. So my understanding is that everyone is understanding the global leadership, where there is a doubt of their mutual unitedness or unity of the global leadership, and knowing fully well the advancing forward for actually addressing the whole issue, I find, to my understanding, if you ask my opinion, is totally absent. And if the global leadership, they want, there is a fracture of the leadership in the global leadership to stop the war or the further planning, a depth planning, a very long-term planning is very important here, because we found the short-term planning to stop the war, because there are a lot of conversations beforehand, but it did not work actually. So the global leadership has got a big role here to actually capture the situation and to address, so that there is nothing happening, because you know this is happening, it will actually affect everyone. It's such a big war that has actually prolonged for a long time, is affecting the whole world, directly, indirectly. Even the Bangladesh has also been affected, you know.
The oil prices have surged.
All prices, you know. So you have to understand that if the global power, if the global authorities, they don't agree upon, the poor countries like us will be affected. So I find, to my understanding, to personal opinion, the global leadership has a big role here, especially the United States of America and the UK as well, because as you said, that the UK based natural gas was basically used to come from the Russia. Right. So they have also big role. I don't know what actually they want, and what the summary, what the gist they want to actually illustrate from here, and for their advantage. And what is the dynamics here is very difficult to understand. It's my personal opinion, actually, you can say, sir.
I want to give our viewers as well as those in the panel the background regarding not wanting to be a part of the Johannesburg-led summit, the G20 summit, which of course is a summit for Premier Forum for International Economic Cooperation. Earlier on this year, Cyril Ramaphosa, the President of South Africa, had visited Donald Trump in the White House. In some point of the talks faltered because Donald Trump had played a clip of how in his government the whites inside South Africa were being discriminated upon. If you look back at history, that's exactly what the apartheid used to belong to. But this time around, Donald Trump claims that there is white genocide happening in South Africa out of all other nations. But coming back to the G20 and how the US is moving out of such institutions is going to be rough waters in the coming days. I want to ask retired Brigadier General Mohammad Khalequzzaman. You've been hearing Norman Floyd Barnes and as well as me giving you the background. US is moving away from institutions like UNESCO out of all, and also the World Health Organization. This move shifts indicate a very tough time for United States. I know that the coronavirus pandemic has not been so far on. It's only been 5 years, and the next pandemic could prompt the need for such institutions for the betterment of the people. My question to you, sir, why do you think United States is moving away? Do you think that they're creating harder times for upcoming US presidents as well?
Thank you very much for the question. It was really, it surely shocked the international leadership regarding the absence of the United States president in the Johannesburg, which actually the G20 summit. It was unexpected. Actually, this signal carries some symbols. If you talk about the symbol, what are the symbols? I should say, to my understanding, that fractures in the global leadership, and the doubt, there's a doubt rages in the unity of the G20, and also a critical moment for the global leadership. And this actually happens when the Russian-Ukraine war is on the way. So actually now we have to understand, as you said, that just after the corona, the United States directions or the guideline from the Trump administration is to away from such UN agencies, which actually is a very critical aspect for the whole world, because as you know, the United States of America is the major contributor. And too much of nationalism of Trump, my understanding, I'm sorry, that too much of nationalism, that he is not bothering actually, because United States actually don't bother what the UN is doing. And because I had been in the United States, and I found that UN is an organization which most of the United States citizens are not very much aware. So they actually don't bother what the UNESCO, FAO, or what other international organizations are doing about it. But the point remains, these matters, these affects us, countries like us, these affects. So the moving away from the track of the UNESCO, Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, and other international organizations from this by the Trump administration is really concern for the other countries like Bangladesh, even the countries more developed than Bangladesh. So I think there is a requirement of understanding between of the other global leadership to talk with the United States administration and do something for the world, because when you become rich, you have some responsibility for the poor people as well. And from that perspective, United States has got certain role for the other countries of the world, and they can't deny it actually, So this is my understanding.
Sir, we know that on 17th November this year, it was international news media headlines, the verdict of ousted fugitive Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. The question here remains that right now, our foreign advisor is Khalequzzaman, as far as I know. He is meeting Ajit Doval of India, the NSA. The two NSAs are meeting in India regarding this heightened tensions. We've seen the Indian media trying to attack us on so many fronts over the last 1.5 years. And there has been border push-ins from an Assam, a woman from Assam has been pushed in to Bangladesh, given that she has been born in Assam and raised in Assam. So all of this implies that we are in some dangerous waters with our neighbor India. And of course, they are using so many narratives to make sure that we do not have any kind of international stance. I know that you have experience in military doctrine. I want to understand how you felt about these latest issues.
Thank you very much, sir, for question. To my understanding, we are surrounded by India, and if you talk about India, India is a big factor for us. There is no doubt in it. But India, we may have the friendship of India with India, but India is never a friend. We may have the friendship because they are big neighbor, but India is never a friend for us. Whatever has India done for Bangladesh, there was interest of India. It's not that they have loved us, they have special affection for Bangladeshi people, and they have come forward to assist or help to Bangladeshis. If you have an idea, after the 5th August 2024, the India has started different campaign in respect of psychologically and media. And the aim is to destabilize the existing government, present government. Because honestly speaking, yes, we are depending on India on different issues. But at the same time, they don't want that we become independent, in respect of our products, in respect of our daily requirements of the general people. If we would have that capacity, then India has no use for us. And keeping those points in mind, India always thinks that if because India does not want that any neighbor in the South Asia become power. If someone wants to raise, they just cut it. Like if you talk about Sri Lanka,
as well as Maldives.
Nepal, as like a Maldives. So I'm sorry that India is such a neighbor of everyone.
Their foreign policy includes cutting off their friends as well.
Exactly, and they don't want it. And India has no friend here actually. If you look that some of the countries have already understood that and they have gone a part of it. So from that perspective, we have to be also self-sufficient, independent, so that we don't depend upon or count on India. And the present government, the initial strategy, with the passage of time, things have there is some problem. The government is not getting that much of cooperation. I'm not going on that point, but the present strategy of the government was to make self-sufficient and independent, so that we don't depend on the India. So that actually made them, mad. So they started different campaign, an unnecessary campaign, which is totally false and not actually true. And our strategy should be to guard against those false campaign, so the people are aware what India is doing for their interest, not for Bangladesh people.
How do you see the future prospect of Bangladesh? I mean, where are we going? What's the direction? Is there any uniform direction? I'm not sure. I want to have your last comments before I can conclude?
Thank you very much. It's my subject actually. I'm working on it. I don't know, as personal opinion, we should say in the online, on live here. To my understanding, if you ask me today personally, Khalequzzaman, what do you think about the country's future? I'm not very much optimistic about that.
We are in some rough waters.
I'm in some rough waters.
Thanking
Because the last 54 years, since the independence of Bangladesh, what have you got anything confirmed from the leadership, political leadership? I'm talking specifically. Could they do something that you can depend upon, you can count on the political leadership? Honestly speaking. Then, in that case, since 91, when there was actually the democratic government came, the country should not have so much of difficulties in respect of democracy. We had problem in the 96, we have problem in 2007, we have problem for last 16, 17 years, then we have problem in 24. So why this has come? Who has asked for it? You and me? Our leaders. You talk about DGFI, you talk about NSI. What they do? They have just followed the government instructions.
Of course.
So what we have to first understand the political leadership. We have to fix it, honestly. Because if the present government could not make them in the same platform, in spite of trying a lot of endeavor. So what will happen in February election, even after the election, what do you want to achieve of it? What will be the outcome after the election?
People only talk about the election, but there is no outcome.
Election is one of the factors of the democracy. It is not the factor.
It is not the main factor.
It is not the factor or main factor. There are a lot of things of democracy.
Right.
We are the servant. The people of Bangladesh are not the owner of the nation. To my understanding, people of the Bangladesh are the servant of the leadership and the bureaucrats. I'm sorry to say, please excuse me for that, sir.
No, definitely
Even
ending.
it should be the opposite.
I'm sorry.
No,
because
I really want to get this answer.
Do you get service? Do you get support in a police station as a normal citizen? Do you get support in anywhere in doctors?
These are grievances, national grievances,
yes, national
grievances of people.
You talk about the fundamental rights in the constitution that you will get service support. Do you get that as a good citizen? As a poor people, someone gets that? Can you confirm me that he gets citizen support from the police station, from the doctors, from anywhere he goes? He does not.
The problem must be fixed in the top seat before it can go down all the way
we
down
say
the
in
pyramid.
Islam, in Namal Amalu bin Niyat, the political leadership will have to have a consensus. You see, after the independence, the political leaders could not come to a consensus on any national interest, where the India could come in a consensus of the national interest.
Of course. This is
We
where
do not
we are
have
lacking.
national interest. We have a political interest. We have individual interest.